The blockbuster trade is finalized and Giannis Antetokounmpo is headed to the Miami Heat. But while the entire NBA world is focused on the glitz and glamour of getting a superstar, there's an ugly truth, an uncomfortable realization both for the Heat, the Bucks, and the collateral damage, in this case, Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics. This is the complete story of the Giannis trade, but let's start from the beginning because the last 24 hours leading up to the completion of this trade have been absolutely insane. First, we learned that there are only two teams that Giannis reassured he would re-sign with. The finalists were Miami and Boston, and they had completely different trade package offerings.
The Bucks are in serious conversations right now, deep talks with two of the finalists for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Those are also two of Giannis's preferred trade destinations, places where he would commit to on a long-term deal. But the Bucks are working through two vastly different choices and two different frameworks. In Boston, you have a package led by Jaylen Brown. We know he's an all-NBA caliber player, a big money, supermax caliber contract player, additional pieces as well. But in Miami, you have cost control players, you have players on rookie scale contracts, you have guys that are more palatable deals moving forward, as well as a surplus of draft capital.
In the aftermath of this drama, we would find out that this was the Celtics' offer. Only Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks. They were unwilling to give up Hugo Gonzales, for example, who the Bucks wanted, along with some other young talent. So the winners in the Greek Freak lottery ended up being the Heat, with a package of Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, Kelly Ware, and 3 first-round picks, one of which is the 13th pick in this draft. So first, let's analyze the positive for Miami. Antetokounmpo is almost a perfect fit for this team and this system. The Heat led the NBA in drives and pace per game last season. It's all running in transition and playing isolation basketball with little to no screens. And this is where Giannis thrives. This is a style of play. Part of the reason his partnership with Lillard failed was that Antetokounmpo does not want to screen as much as a typical big would. He wants the ball in his hands and he wants to attack the basket. That's exactly what this offense is designed to do. Then defensively, this team is going to be frightening. Bam and Giannis can pretty much switch on everyone and anyone, protect the paint, and experiment with different types of zones that Spoelstra wants to run. To me, these two big men, along with an on-ball demon in Davion Mitchell, as well as another versatile defender in Wiggins, and Bobby Portis, who's also in the deal with Giannis, will lead a top 3 defense in the league this season.
Vucevic set to come back in. Shot clock winding down. Mitchell all over Kobe White. Shot blocked by Mitchell. What a fantastic defensive possession.
With the ball and a 13-point lead. Kuzma pinned by Bam.
However, here's the uncomfortable truth that the Heat fans are not ready to face at the moment.
You have to now build an elite team around Giannis, and you've given away a ton of assets. Are they going to be elite next year? I think that they are a top 4 team, in my opinion, going into next year. If everyone's healthy, if they could do it, but they still have a lot of room that they have to fill out on the Miami side.
Let me translate this for you. Richard Jefferson basically is saying that he doesn't think the Heat are better than Boston at the moment, and of course, not better than the New York Knicks, so he played it safe and put them top 4, saying that they must improve. However, Bobby Marks explained why improvement could be a problem for Miami.
There's some work to do. There really is. I think when you look at it, and getting Bobby Portis back in the deal certainly helps your front court here, but I think it potentially could cost you Norman Powell, your all-star from last year, who is a unrestricted free agent. Remember, we deal with these apron rules, right? Miami now becomes hard capped at the first apron. They're limited as far as what they can go out and offer Norman Powell in the deal. And when you look at their backcourt is a little bit depleted here. They need a little bit more front court help, and they've got about 5 roster spots to go out and fill to try to compete with Boston and New York and teams like that. So there's work to do for Pat Riley despite getting Giannis in this trade.
The Heat are pretty limited in what they could do and who they can bring in, but what they desperately need is more shooting. Giannis loves shooters around him, and the only one on the roster at the moment is Andrew Wiggins, who shot the ball great last season. But he's so inconsistent year to year that I'm not convinced even about him. They got the superstar from the Bucks, but there's still a lot of work left to make this a championship team. And speaking of Milwaukee, I disagree with some of the general feelings about this trade.
I mean, they did really well for themselves. Now they have the 13th pick. They've got the 10th pick also. They've got 2 future picks. They've got some nice young players to build around.
They did get some young players and some picks, but I'm afraid that the Bucks may turn into the Heat themselves. They may end up stuck in the play-in and be unable to get quality players through the draft. And of course, Miami's picks that they got in return are going to be low in the draft, as the Heat are now going to be an automatic playoff team year after year with Antetokounmpo. I would have taken Jaylen Brown, because that way you have a franchise guy at least, someone to build around. This way it's building around Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez and hoping for a miracle in the lower draft picks.
This was a hard one because obviously if you trade for Jaylen Brown, you're trading for an all-NBA player in his prime, under contract control. That's the thing, Bob. He's under contract control, under contract for 3 more years.
This trade was the final domino at the end in a series of catastrophic moves by the Bucks in which they gambled away a top 5 player of the decade. The most recent one was literally stopping him from suiting up and playing games. They straight up told him, "You're injured," when Giannis himself repeatedly said that he's feeling fine and healthy and completed all the protocols required.
To answer your question, I'm healthy, man, and I just hate when people force me to do things against my nature. I'm a player, I get paid to play. And if anybody out there that thinks, because I hear somebody say that, he says that he wants to play, but he doesn't really want to play. First of all, I don't know who gives you information like that, because I've heard that also. You'd be an idiot to have an opportunity to play with your brother that you're 8 years older than him. When I played my first NBA game, I was 11 years old. When my dad passed away, I pretty much raised him, and he's able to be on the team and suit up and chase an opportunity to be great. And you really think that I don't want to suit up and play with my brother? Anybody that thinks that is an idiot.
Just listen to his passion, his frustration in his talk. I know that if the season is lost, you want to lose more games and move up the draft. But seeing Giannis with this face, that told me right then and there that there is no way he is re-signing with this team. And speaking of the team, this roster ended up being a total dumpster fire ever since that swap of Damian Lillard for Drew Holiday. And mind you, Drew ended up being the key piece for Boston's 2024 title.
Holiday, nice sidestep layup.
I go to his tempo. He never gets sped up, just attacks it beautifully.
White lead for Holiday, steps through and scores with the right hand. The Celtics are playing ferocious defense to start. It is Banner 18. The mission demanded is mission accomplished.
Meanwhile, Milwaukee's defense plummeted from an elite 4th best in the league with Holiday to 19th with Lillard. We can talk all day about Giannis getting injured in that first year with Dame in the playoffs and what could have been, but this team with no defense whatsoever was not winning the championship. And similar story for last year. The Bucks ended the regular season as the 5th seed in the East, 48 and 34 in the East. Yeah, Lillard got injured in the playoffs, but this was not a championship roster in any way. Now sure, there were some highlights during his time there.
3 seconds, Dame pulls for the win! Dame time! Calls his own number and calls game. 2,500 career threes for Dame on that shot. Dame off the bounce against Brooks. Dame driving inside, kicks it to go! Gives the Bucks the lead with 3.9 left!
Lillard. Dame time. It's Dame time. Tap your wrist with a simple flick of the wrist.
But on the other hand, the fit between the two was clearly not ideal. Also, there was a game I remember vividly where Dame was flat out terrible. 1 of 12 from the field, and it got Giannis rethinking his life decisions on the sidelines. He was totally disappointed and probably said to himself, "Man, I miss Drew." And this year was a complete circus. Take a look at their opening night starters and tell me where would you rank this team? Each and every one of these guys should be the 5th best player on a championship contender. But here, people expected Miles Turner to be Anthony Davis, and they expected huge leaps from AJ Green and Gary Trent Jr. Instead, what ended up happening was a mediocre team when Antetokounmpo, a top 5 player in the league, was playing, and an absolute disaster when he wasn't.
This team was not going anywhere this year. Now, whether or not they wanted to admit that, whether Doc Rivers wanted to admit that, or whether Giannis wanted to admit that is another story. They were 500 with Giannis in the lineup. As you mentioned, Shea, they're 3-11 without him.
The Bucks ended with a bottom 5 defense in the league, 26th. And the salary cap situation was so complicated, they were so buried that there was no easy way to reshape the roster and bring in some quality pieces. So the frustration grew bigger and bigger for Giannis as the season progressed. You could see that in his post-game comments.
It felt like a turning point when the fans in Milwaukee booed you and you booed them back. How did that moment feel in your heart?
It felt great. I don't know, for some reason I enjoy being the villain this year.
Even with your own fans?
It doesn't really matter with everybody.
How confident are you you'll finish the season with the Bucks?
I don't know. I take it day by day. We're not playing hard. We're not playing hard. We're not doing the right thing. We're not playing to win. We're not playing together. Our chemistry's not there. Guys are being selfish. Guys are trying to look for their own shots instead of looking for the right shot for the team. Guys try to do it on their own. So it doesn't really matter. I try not to whine and say, oh, I feel this way, I feel that way, I'm out of shape, I'm out of breath. Does it? Like, why would I say that if in 2 days I'm going to dress up and play? So there's no reason for me to complain or even think that. Enough is enough. Like, if I feel like you're putting my livelihood and my career and my body in jeopardy, in danger, enough is enough, brother. I have family to feed, and what makes you laugh can also make you cry sometimes, huh?
And let me also hold a mini press conference of my own to deliver a very important message to you guys. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions of dollars for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their apps can contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent history verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. Now, Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. Click the link in the description to take a short quiz. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000. The ugliest truth, however, is looking dead in the eyes of the Boston Celtics, and their situation ended up being the most complicated.
I believe that the Celtics, by making him available, are admitting that their team just wasn't good enough, and that it wasn't just a matter of having poor injury luck, that they weren't a good enough team to compete in the East, and that, you know, if they've made the decision to offer Jaylen Brown for Giannis, they've probably made the decision to trade Jaylen Brown. And I would expect that there are going to be a handful, if not more, teams will be in contact with the Celtics if they haven't already, showing interest in trading for Jaylen Brown. What do you think the Celtics can do there now?
This offseason is already insane, and now we're on the lookout for a Jaylen Brown trade. But I agree 100%. Now everyone knows that the Celtics are willing to part ways with him, including Brown himself. And there is no recovering and saving the relationship between the player and the team once you reach this point.
How do you feel coming off your best year, where you led them to the #2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and then you hear your name dangled for weeks in trade conversation? That's going to be a hard bridge to repair now. And the rest of the East is kind of wondering what happens with Boston here. What happens with Jaylen Brown?
We're about to witness madness, and it's already begun with Luka Doncic sending warning shots to his very own Los Angeles Lakers. You gotta check out his cryptic message right here in this video. Talk to you in the next one. Peace out.